Hello, I am Adebola. Welcome to Girls Timeout. My guest today is someone that I've known for about 25 years. Gone through quite a few experiences in life, and she's here to share that story. A lot of things in life impact on who we are and just shape our formation, and it's like a start of our journey. So I hope that from her story, some things from her journey will be able to impact on the younger generation, and also we will be able to be a voice of comfort to people that have gone through or are going through what she has been through. Her name is Ogugua, and I want to really welcome Ogugua for being my guest today. Welcome, Ogugua, and thank you for being my guest today. I think my first question for you would be, what experiences have shaped who you are today?
Oh, wow. That's many. I have many experiences that have shaped who I am today. But there's one little topic that I would like to share on just one of the aspects. Growing up without a mom.
Yeah.
I lost my mom when I was 5 years old. She was the third. We're from a polygamous home. My father had 4 wives.
Yeah.
I have 19 children in all. Yes, 19. Number 15. And my mom was the third wife. We have 3 girls. So it was a big house, a huge family. Yeah. So my mom passed when I was 5. My older sister was 9, and my baby sister was 2. Yeah. So we're pretty young. And I say her absence really affected us quite a lot. But I think the main thing for me is the fact that in where we come from, I don't think we know how to handle grief.
Yeah.
In our attempt to get things back to normal, we rush processes or ignore stuff that shouldn't be ignored, and you're generally left to fend for yourself emotionally. As long as you're fed, you're clothed, you're going to school, our parents or the older ones in our lives just feel you have nothing to complain about. But and I remember when she died, I was just 5, and you think a 5-year-old doesn't know much, but I dare disagree. Wow. Because I can tell you when I knew something had happened. She just disappeared from the house. Wow. Like, I knew she was not feeling too good. She was meant to have given birth to a baby. The baby didn't come home, but of course no one tells you anything, so we let that slide. But she was home, but I could see she wasn't feeling well. I remember an aunt coming to give her a bath, and I saw plasters up and down. Obviously she had a cesarean. So now I know, then I didn't. And also she was being looked after, and then one day she didn't come home. She just wasn't there. And then my sister and I were taken to my stepmom's house. We usually go over there to play, but after playing we come back. But this time we were there for an extended period. Maybe in my mind, I think it's like a week.
Yeah.
And there was no one to ask, why are we here? I can't remember anybody ever asking me, why are we here? And Bola, I have to tell you that I'm 43 years old. Until today, nobody has told me that my mother is dead.
Wow.
Like, I've never had a conversation with anybody to say, Ogugua, this was happened. So you can imagine during that week, I'm just thrown into my stepmom's home. Of course, it was fun because my sisters were there, we were playing and all that, but why are we here? Nobody said anything. And then one day again, we're whisked back to my house, and there's a coffin in the living room.
Wow.
Now I know it's a coffin. Then I was just looking in the living room, and everybody's sad and yeah. And I go to a church service, and I'm taken to the burial ground, and I'm told to pick up sand and throw into the hole. Now all this is happening, and no one has told me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Where is my mom? No one is answering, or there's no one to even have a conversation with.
Yeah.
So this now means that a 5-year-old girl who has had someone that she has relied on or has had a relationship with so long, that person is now missing. Yeah. How did it affect me? I'm happy now that I can articulate this. I felt lost.
Wow.
I didn't know what was going on. I literally just felt like, when your world, half of it is suddenly gone and you don't know why, I don't know what's happening. Is she coming back? So I was just there wondering, maybe she's coming back. maybe she's not coming. I don't know what is happening. And it took a long time for me to recover. And I really, really think that somehow or the other, there should be a standardized grief counseling for children when they have a loss of any kind. I think it was unfair, but I don't even blame them either, because I think everyone acted on what they knew best. She's a young child, she'll grow out of it. They're small children, they will, will they remember this thing? But look at me, I don't know math, but so many years later, almost 40 years later, and I'm telling you exactly what happened then. And it was so destabilizing that for a long time, I think even till now, I don't know how to grasp the moment. I always wonder how long it's going to last. Unconsciously, I wonder, how long can I be happy for? How long will I have my husband for? How long will I have my children for? How long will I have any good thing for? I don't know, because one good thing I had disappeared, never came back. So yeah, that was quite tough.
Wow. So how did that impact you? How did that feel for you? I hear the fact that she was there, she's no longer there. So in terms of your growing up years or you becoming a woman, what was that like in that journey?
My needs were met. I was fed, I was clothed, I had company. There were so many in my house. I never had lack of anyone to gist with. But her absence was, and because it wasn't spoken about, it was just there. And then but growing up, it showed up in many little things. Like I remember when I was around 13 and I started growing breasts. I was still going around. It was one of my older sisters who said, Ogugua, you're jiggling too much, you better get yourself a bra. I was like, oh, okay. And then an occasion happened, my father's 70th, and we sprayed lots of money. And okay, one of them, I don't know if she was the same person that gave me a strapless. That was my very first bra. So we had some money, so I went to the market and I bought myself a black bra. Things like looking after yourself. And I think it shows up more because God has given me a daughter and I can do these things with her. So when I do them for her, I'm grateful to God, but I remember the loss that I had. I remember getting my period and just being blank, like, what is going on? For the first 2 days, I was just there. But I remembered our biology class, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. And I sorted myself out. But because it was expected of me to just gather myself, I've learned to have to do that.
Yeah.
And then God being so kind and so merciful, like I remember when I was getting married, my stepmom just stepped up. You've got to give it to her. She insisted on buying my dress. She bought my cake. She was there. I remember when I was graduating from university, she showed up and we took pictures. You know that olden days where you're dancing and take a picture of the graduates? She did all that for me. I was graduating from law school. She showed up. So there are many major things I wish she was there, but then there are also many major things that I know God brought in people just to cover. When it came to the practicalities, there are many things I had to do for myself.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I was still it was a huge hole. I don't know how to explain that. It was just a huge hole that, I think until I became a Christian, nothing could really fail. And it was worse because I didn't know why I had the hole. I didn't even know the hole was there. I just knew that I was always afraid of things changing. I carried that fear with me for so long. Like, it's just always there, like a little thing. You don't know why you're enjoying this. You don't know how long it's going to last.
Wow.
And you always have the fear of foreboding, like something is going to go wrong. That's how I grew up. That's how I lived my life. If a good thing is happening, I'm like, how long do you have this good thing for?
Wow.
So people who know me know how much I love birthdays. Because every year I'm alive is like, what? I'm still here? Yeah. Because my mom was 32. Yeah. So I don't have the luxury of thinking of old age. Like I don't take it for granted that I'm going to be 70. To me, every day I'm alive is a gift because I've seen it taken away so young. She didn't get to see me grow up. The fact that I can be here for my daughter and for my son is a gift for me. I think life is such that's why as I'm growing older and I'm growing closer to God, I forgive like this. As in, you're not going to be the cause of my downfall. I beg, I forgive you. Take that and go. I don't. If you've told me I mess up, I will apologize. Even my children know it. Mommy, you said this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't have the luxury of assuming that I'll apologize tomorrow. God hasn't told me, Ogugua, there's a tomorrow. I don't know that. So today is all I've got. So I'll forgive you today. I will love you today. And I'm even now more, even as I'm getting older, I'm even more expressive with how I feel. So if I love, there's no way you're my friend and you will know I love you. If we're close, like, that kind of thing. I laugh often. I try not to carry weights because I don't know what's going to happen next.
Let's quickly explore how that loss felt and how it impacted on your confidence, maybe on your identity, on your sense of who you are.
Growing up in the house that I did, there were lots of children. All of us still trying to find our way.
Yeah.
So now not having a mother just made it extra hard.
Yeah.
Because the things my kids take for granted, as me telling them I will be here, when you finish school, I'm going to be here. That certainty that our kids have, knowing that their mother will always be there, I didn't have that. So everything was always shaky. I didn't have any confidence, any in myself, because there was no one to tell me who I was. There was no one to tell me, you're doing a good job with this, well done. Or to say, oh, you're so pretty. Do you know how pretty you are? And beauty is a thing, it's really in the eyes of the beholder for me. And I behold other people's beauty, but I don't behold mine. I think it really affected me in that way and I don't handle compliments too well. I don't know how to receive, compliments, and it's a challenge because you should be able to, because, when you tell a child of today who has heard it often enough, you're so pretty, like, thank you. Yeah. If you tell me I'm so pretty, I'll assume you're lying. Because it's not something I know. It was not a reality for me. It's not something I know. So self-confidence was zero. Not because people were wicked around me. It's just that nobody thought about it. Everybody was busy. Everybody was, we all had our own stuff to deal with. Yeah. So it wasn't intentional neglect, but it was neglect anyway. So emotionally, I was stunted. Self-confidence, I had none. I had to build it as I grew up. And when I gave my life to Christ, I had to get from the Bible who I was and what I was in God's eyes. So that really, really helped a bit. And another challenge with not having her around, I think, is the fact I always felt that nobody knew I existed. Yeah. Which is funny. Because I have a very bubbly personality, people tell me. But there's something about you feeling sad and nobody knows you're feeling sad. Or you feeling, maybe you had a bad day in school and there's no one to tell that you had a bad day. Or that you're afraid because the teacher shouted at you or you're failing and you don't know who to tell or who to share that, oh my gosh, I'm having this problem. Or even the cute things of a boy winked at me. Who am I telling? You know, so it's been an interesting one.
Wow, that sounds like there's a lot. I hear that feeling of there's nobody to actually go to
actually see you
what is happening. So if you were to speak to a young girl, maybe a teenage girl or just a young person that is where you were then, what would you say? Because I know this is something that is happening. Unfortunately, life happens. And it's sad, but what would you say to someone who's in your shoes now? Your shoes, the shoes you were in then, now.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll try and address, if it's this, because everyone handles grief differently. I think for me, it was the constant fear. I would tell that young lady or man that it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. I think if someone had told me, Ogugua, don't be so scared. It's going to be all right. You're going to grow up. You're going to be fine. I wasn't sure. I was always scared. I don't know how to explain it. I was always afraid of what was going to happen. And I would tell her to just stop, breathe. it's actually, you are actually, this grief, this will, it will never end, because grief doesn't really, loss doesn't really die. It just becomes more manageable.
Yeah.
And then you can function better, even with it. I'll tell her that it's going to be all right. I'll give her a huge hug, and I'll tell her that it's going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right. This gaping hole won't always be there.
Yeah.
For me, giving my life to Christ, feel that meeting wonderful people along the way, even my family, my siblings, my sisters, everybody, just in a way, just a little bit, and the gap is still there. But where she left, I think that will always be there. The loss for me will always be there. If I think about it well, I can start crying now. and I had only 5 years with her. But the remaining, almost 38 years that I did not have with her is a huge hole for me. I don't know if anybody ever recovers from it fully. Yeah. But for me, I think having the Lord Jesus, I don't know if I've ever told you this, the first time I read the story of Hagar in the Bible, and she was saying, I have met the God who sees me. Jehovah Rohi is the name I call God. Yeah. He is the God who sees. Out of many children in secondary school, out of many people in university, out of many people in primary school, out of many people in my house, God sees me. So he knows when I'm sad, he knows when I'm hurting, he knows when I'm Jehovah Rohi. Yeah. He's the God that sees me. That really, really, really helped. And I would speak to the girl or the boy from that angle. Yeah. But I know what it's like not to be able to tell, even after 15 years, after how many years, you're still wondering, why are you crying about this woman? The loss doesn't go, but God helps. It just gets easier to bear.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And let's just quickly explore, just a quick one, because it sounds like you've been on a journey. You've been on a journey from that little girl, from that girl who had to go through loss. And it's been a progressive journey. So where are you now? You've been on a journey where you said you had no confidence, and that's understandable. So where are you now?
Where am I now? Great. I'm having a ball. That's why time does some things. I'm having a ball. God has taught me how precious I am. Yeah. How beautiful I am. Yeah. Physically and on the inside. And I realized I've got something to give to the world. Yeah. So now I'm writing. Brilliant. And I am my faith plays heavily in the things I write. You would know that this one knows the Lord a little in the things that I write. And I try to express God's love, because it's been the most, everything I write has to advocate for the fact that, look, God really, really loves you. And the hurts that you have, the guilt that you carry, he wants to do something about it. So right now I'm writing, and I'm really enjoying this phase of my life. And I'm really grateful to God for that opportunity to be able to write for him. I write fiction, lots of fiction. I have a very strong imagination.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm putting that to good use now.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you, OJ. Thank you so much for sharing your story. That has been an interesting and impactful story coming from loss. And I think I hear you in terms of how we deal with loss. There's an assumption that children will just get on with it. And I hope that more and more we'll begin to understand the need to talk about these things and just bring it out into the open. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, that one thing parents who have, like, I remember when a friend of mine lost her husband. Everyone else was talking about different things. We, of course, were discussing life after. I was very particular about telling these children what happened. Yeah. And luckily, she listened to me, and we gathered the children together, 2 kids actually. We gathered both of them together, and we broke the news of their father's death to them, and explained what happened, because they were Christians, and her faith was strong, that her husband, their daddy was in heaven right now. And they were like, really? Okay, so is he coming back? no, he's not coming back and all that. So we went through all of that. And then they were like, okay, and they left. And then she now said, is it just that all that easy? I said, no, that's the first step.
Yeah.
They're still going to, the loss will come up regularly.
Yeah.
And every time it comes up, be ready to talk about it, be ready to explain, be ready to walk them through this journey.
Yeah.
Walk them through this journey so they don't end up just lost. Because children would rebel, older teenagers will rebel with the loss sometimes. They'll start acting out. It's just because there's no avenue for them to grieve properly. They don't even know what they are going through. I'm explaining myself now at 43. I would never have been able to tell you this is the reason why I feel like this at 13.
Yeah.
So you can imagine a teenager who has suffered loss or a young child who has suffered loss. Give them room.
Yeah.
There's no manual for grief. There's no book that says this is how you grieve. You grieve for 90 days. After 90 days, you get over it. No. You've got to give this child time. You've got to give them a space. And if you just be aware that because as you are also grieving as the adults there, they are also grieving. Give them an outlet. So look for a therapist. Let them have a counselor. Yeah. I'm not talking about church. I'm not talking about pastors. A trained grief counselor.
Yeah.
I know in Nigeria I don't like hearing therapy, but let your child do this thing properly. Let your child see somebody, preferably someone not even you, because you're also handling your issues, so you may not even be the best person. Allow them see somebody else. When, as they're healing, then you are also seeing somebody. Both of you can now help each other from a place of growth. Not because you're doing yours, they're doing yours. Get over it now. Say, I have to do this. No one gets over it. Nobody gets over it.
Yeah.
Just be aware of that. Yeah, so that's it. That's my advice for anybody who has a child who has suffered loss.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure.
Amazing experience. And yeah, whilst we don't like talking about grief or about death, it's a reality of life, and it's the people that are left behind that have to deal with it and pick up that piece. Yep. So thank you. And that's all, folks, for today. Thank you for tuning in. Until I have my next guest. Bye-bye.